Hello everyone, welcome to this video by Data Science. So we will continue our course on Python and the topic that we have is regex part 2. So in the previous video we discussed about what is regex, right? And regex technically means pattern matching, and we try to see how we can measure if a particular string 1 contains a string s2, and we also try to identify basic pattern. For example, a phone number. Let's say if we have a phone number, and can we check it in any particular string, right? So this particular thing we checked, and how do we do that? We use /d/t/t/t. Okay, and we if there are multiple similar things, we can simply do /d and 3. So we will take this discussion forward in this video, where we will try to see all the possible types of pattern matches which are available, and we'll try to look up at example of each. So before moving ahead, I'm telling you in advance that this is going to be a little bit intense video, and you might have to watch it again to understand what I actually spoke. Right, because this thing takes time to go in, unless you I mean, lot of times we say that you have to practice, but eventually you guys don't practice, and you just try to look at the visual and imagine, oh, okay, I'll remember that. But this concept I'm writing down in advance here. If you don't practice on your own, you will never understand this, right? So I'm telling you, you're watching the video, that is fine, but do practice this particular concept for sure. Does not matter how many concepts you practice earlier, because this is a very important topic, what I'm going to discuss in this video, right? And it will help you. It will really be important when if you're starting to work in Python, especially in data science field, and when you're using the textual data. So now let's come back to the discussion. Okay, so we'll go to our workbook. So we are trying to identify patterns. So what we saw, that how to match a pattern, to tell Python that we are starting a pattern, we use R in this codes, and here we write down the whatever pattern is there. Okay, and then what we do, we try to use either search, or we try to use find all to check if that pattern is actually present in a text or string or not. Okay, so we will use this simple format in this video and explore various patterns which are available, and see which all can be used where, what are the various use cases in the industry, and we will try to build concept from there. So let's take forward. Now we see that we first of all have this table. Okay, let's try to again understand this table in depth. So suppose you have this is your text which is available. Okay, so what patterns can you build to match this? So let us say this is file 25. Now what does this D means? This D means a digit. What is a digit? A digit is anything that is 0 to 9. So for example, /D means any digit between 0 to 9 if it is going to be present. So for example, let's say a text says my name is 23 ABC, for example. Okay, now if you do a pattern search for this, it will return 23 technically, right? So this is what you have to tell, that okay, this number contains a digit. So digit means this. We will explore each option in full detail after this. So see what is the file. So D slash, and make sure this is small d. Okay, so there is a big D as well, and there is a small d as well. So there's a difference. Big D means it is non-digit. Okay, it means ABC, and small d means it is digit numbers. So if you have to find a pattern of file underscore something, which I explained in the last video as well, where your file name is constant and this is your variable part of the pattern. So what you will do, in the variable part, you will just write down /d/d. Okay, so it will match any file underscore with whatever format this is. Now let's see this /w. It means alphanumeric. What is an alphanumeric? Alphanumeric means anything from A to Z small, or A to Z in capital, or 0 to 9. Okay, anything in this range. So A to Z, capital A to Z, or 0 to 9. This is alphanumeric. So how do we write it? For example, we have to match A, B underscore 1. So we have this A, B underscore 1. Okay. If I have to create a pattern for this, what will I write? See, this is an alphanumeric, this is an alphanumeric, this is an alphanumeric. Okay. So what will be the pattern for this? It will be W. Okay. Now there is no pattern for this. So we will simply hard code it. Okay. Now for B, we will again use W, and then underscore also will pass directly, and then for 1 also will use W. So this is the pattern which we will use, and we will pass into the text to validate if this is something existing or not. Now comes white space. So white space means, for example, this is the example ABC where there is space between ABC. So there could be text like this. For example, Z, T, V, okay, where there is space. So how now if you do a simple search ZTV, it will not result in anything because there is a space. So how do you handle with space? You create a Z/S, then you create T, and then you create, for example, /S. Or you can simply also say that it could be /W/S. Okay, so it's a character, then space, then again character, then again space, then again character. So then again space, and then again character. So this is how you will build a pattern for this. So we will explore all this as I mentioned in coming ahead. And then this is a non-digit, means okay, it is not a number technically, so it could be a special character, it could be anything else. Now non-alphanumeric is this, like where you have some special number. So it is a capital W. Remember, alphanumeric means ABC, A to Z, and 0 to 9, and it is small w, and this is big W. And what is capital S? Non-white space. So if you notice, small d means digit, capital D means non-digit. Small w means alphanumeric, capital W means non-alphanumeric, and small space means white space, capital S means non-white space. So technically there are these three that you need to remember, and rest three are opposite to it. So this is what we discussed in last class as well. And let's see a simple example where we had a telephone number. It is of this format. It has 3 digit, and it has 3 digit. It has a hyphen, then 3 digit, then 4 digit. Okay. So how will we write on the pattern? So in the text, re.search. This is how a syntax of it looks like. Then R. So 3 digit is there. So /t/t/t/t. Then there is hyphen, then there is again 3 digits, so /t/t/d, and then there is again hyphen, and then there 4. And where do you check it? We check in text. Okay. And what does group mean? Group means that what the match I am getting. For example, here for this pattern I am getting this match, so it will return me 40855512334. Okay. So group means what did this pattern match actually resulted in. So this is what. Now after this we discussed quantifiers. For example, in the above case we see that this is repeating multiple times. So what we do that we use D3. It means D is repeating 3 times. There's a 3 digit. There are 3 digits. There are /3 digits /4 digits, right? And it will return in a match. So this is what we discussed in the last video. In this video now we are going to discuss, there are quantifiers. So these quantifiers again in detail we are going to discuss, because there are multiple possibilities for each quantifier, and we will try to understand a question for each, and we will explore various use cases. So let me just refresh my screen. So the first is we have is plus sign. So what does it say? It occurs 1 or more times. So let's go to the question directly. Okay. So we have this pattern where we are using plus in our pattern. For example, where we are using so whenever we build a pattern like this, we use plus sign somewhere. Maybe we use a plus or 1 plus. So what does this plus sign mean? Let's read about it. It matches 1 or more occurrences of the preceding element. Okay. So wherever you use plus, okay, after that what is going to come before that, whatever character is before plus, okay, so whatever thing is before plus, it will check the presence of that particular part. So let's say I'm writing down A, B, C, whatever, some pattern and plus. So what will this plus sign do? It will try to check if this pattern is existing in my text or not. Okay, so this is the objective of this particular part. So let's see what it does. So here we have /w hyphen /w. So what does it mean? That it is checking if there is a pattern where you have an alphanumeric followed by a dash, then alphanumeric, okay, in your text, and you are matching it into this. So let's see this in detail. So you have a/b_1 and you are trying to match it with w hyphen w, okay, and what is it? Plus. Okay, so what all is it going to result in matches? It is technically going to result few things. So it could be your first character could be A to Z, or it could be A to Z in capitals, or it could be 0 to 9, correct? It could be anything. Then the second character needs to be a hyphen, and third character again will be the same repeat. Okay, so if you see anything, for example, let's say you see A hyphen A, so will this be a match? Yes, it will be a match. Okay, so let's down few examples. Will a 0 hyphen and A, so let's say B, will this be a match? 3 hyphen 3, will this be a match? 3 hyphen this, will this be a match? Okay, and let's say this and this, will this be a match or not? So what is the answer for this? Now this will match because 0 it is taking from here, B is taking from here in this, so it will match. 3 will match because here 3, here also 3. Now 3 it will match from here, but special character is not present because it is just a copy of this, right? So it will not match. So it will be an error. And what about this? These are also not present because these are special characters which are not present. So these two will not result. So eventually these patterns can be resulted through a match from this. Okay. So what we did, we use a plus sign. It will compare this particular thing with the longest string it can match it with inside. Okay. So now see, we use a text. The text is version something, and we are using a pattern. So it will search for the longest one, and you see that here it is not finding. Here we need to look for where it is going to find hyphen, and hyphen is present here only. And our condition is that before hyphen there should be alphanumeric, and after hyphen there should be an alphanumeric. So it means this. Okay, and again you see matches one or more occurrences of the preceding element. Okay, so now if you see, so let's run this code first of all. Okay, and what we are seeing is that it matches hyphen, and after this, if after a hyphen you see there are multiple W's, so it does not matter. For example, there can be like for example, let's say if there were a number of things, okay, and if you try to match this pattern, it will result because what it is saying, one or more occurrences of the preceding element. So it matched with this one. Okay, now the next element, whatever comes, it should be aligned with this one, okay, of the preceding element. So that's why as long as things are alphanumeric or text, it will still print and it will still generate the pattern. Okay, so this is the thing from here. Now let us move to a use case. Use case say that you can use this extracting words. You can use this pattern to extract all words or sequences of letters from a text. So what is our pattern? If you see, our pattern is A to Z and A/Z. It means, so let's read what this pattern means. So let me clear my board. So let's say this is the pattern A to Z and A to Z. Okay, let's just reconfirm if there is anything else. So A to Z and A to Z, and after that there is a plus. Okay, so what is it going to do? It is going to match one or more instances like this. Okay, so it wants that before that it could be of, first of all, it could be of any length, because when we use plus sign it means one or more. So it can match A, okay, it can match AB, it can match AA, okay, it can match for example C and let's say G, it can match that. But what it cannot match is, for example, 1 1, it cannot match suppose A3. So these things it will not match, okay, and these things it will match. So what is happening here, if you see, it is checking if the character is belonging to either A to Z or A to Z. So it is belonging here, it is belonging here, and it length could be any, because we are using one or more. So plus sign means that there should be at least one character, there should be at least one character in this. So it is matching, and this is not matching, okay, and 3. So we have not explicitly mentioned 3, so this particular part will not match. Okay, so let's figure out this, let's see what all result come. Now we have a text, hello world, this is a test, blah 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 blah. So we have different words, hello, comma, then we have world, hyphen, and lot of things, one number and everything. Now when we do find all, so what it will return, it will match with all the words. So technically it will match with all the characters, with like where there is A to Z, anything. So it will match with hello, it will match with world, this is like everything, but it will not match with word, it will not match with this dot, okay, it will not again match with this dot here, it will not match with exclamation, comma, these things it will not match. So it will only match with text here. So that is the first use case. Now let's see the second use case, validating a username that must contain at least one letter. So we are given a username, we have given a lot of user IDs, okay, and I have to pick those match a username with one or more letters. So what is the case, that I will check if in these text any text is present, okay. So user 1 contains text, but what it will match with, it will match with user, correct, because we are only checking this. Will it match anything in this? No, there is no text here. Will it match anything in this? Yes, it will match, because there is a text A. So when you generate the result, it will still say user and it will say A. Okay, so this is the use case. Try to work around with it when you run the code, see whatever it's generating. Now let's see what are the more practical use cases for this particular type of. So plus sign technically means that, in summary, plus sign technically means that whatever is coming before it can come one or more times. Okay, it could be a text, it could be a number, it could be a special character, anything. Whatever you're writing before this, it can come one or any times. So that is something that you need to ensure. Now validating product codes, so where each code consists of a single letter or digit followed by a hyphen. For like if you go to shopping market, right? If you just want to verify, does this product code is valid or not? So what you will do, you'll match it with this particular string and it will tell you. Similarly, QR codes are there. There are a lot of things where your username, does your username comply with compliance or not? For example, in your company system, they ask you to enter username, and sometimes they say that, okay, this username is not valid. Okay, so that thing is verified through this particular thing. So this was the part 1 where we had we are matching with plus occurrence of one or more times. So now let us look at the second type of quantifier, that is where you use curly braces, right? And we have seen this example in previous scenario as well. So what happens, for example, let's say you are having a pattern and you don't know, I mean, for example, there are 200 digits like 2 0 1 2 3 something, right? And you cannot write this every time, okay, if you keep writing 200 times. So what you do, you see how many digits are there. So whatever digits are there, you just write that format. In the curly braces you write 200. It will mean anything exact. So this means exact 200 matches. So not even 199 will fail, even 201 will fail. So it means exact 200 matches. Wherever it will find this pattern, it will except that. So let's see. So matches exactly the 3 occurrence of the preceding element. Okay. So for example, we have a ABC and it is asking 3 digits. Now if I, because ABC is what? ABC is characters. It is not a digit. So when I run this particular code, it will not generate any result for me. And when I do like 333, so what is it generating? It is generating me a span of something like this. Okay, that it got a match from here to here. So now if you just do match dot group, so you got 333. Now what if there are multiple? Let's say there are big numbers. Now here you might question, okay, this is 3, this is 3. How will it define that? Because there are a lot of numbers and I am saying only 3 numbers match. So what will it result? It will result in the first match in the search. And if you do a find all, let's say you do find all, okay, and I print match. Sorry, find all. Okay, if you do find all, what it has done? It has taken 333. After that, it has taken 334. So it has not taken like 333, then 333, then no. After one pattern is finished, it has taken then the next pattern, then 354, then 345, something like this, right? So it has generated all patterns like in that order. So it works with find all as well. It works with search as well. It technically means it matching exactly 3 patterns. So let us see what are the use cases for this type of pattern matching. Validating a specific format such as 3-letter code for abbreviation. So for example, let's say you have text, some common abbreviations are this. Now you want to filter out those abbreviations which are 3 length. So what you will do, now if you see these abbreviations are technically capital A to Z. So you will use this pattern R and then you will use A to Z, and after that you will mention, okay, exactly 3 times. So if there was any more option like something like this, so will it generate? No. So when you do find all, so let's see what comes. It will, so in this what it will do, it will only match the first 3 and it will print it. So it is not going to generate all the like whole FBI. It will just generate the first 3 elements. So that is what is worth noting here. And so this particular part is useful when you need to match exact matches. So let's see more practical use cases. Extracting 3-letter airport codes from a list of travel itineraries, right? So for example, you have a big document and it has a lot of airport air codes, right? And you want to list them out. So what you will do on the whole document, you'll pass in the text whole document and you will use this pattern. It will generate you all the possible things which are present. Similarly, apart from like airport codes, you can use any other code. Now validating country codes in a database where each code is exactly 3, right? For example, you want to filter out the country code. Parsing 3-character department codes in employee database. Okay, so how do you do that? So you will use this method. Matching sequences of exactly 3 non-numeric characters in a product description. Okay, and extracting. So you can try out all this. Technically what it is doing, it will just pulling out those characters, those things which are of exactly 3 length, and here they are characters. So this was the second type of pattern. The third type of quantifier comes is where you remember here we are using exactly 3, but what if we are not sure about that pattern? For example, let's say what here, just like in this case, there is FBI, okay, or there is, let's say, some other agency, let's say IGCI, okay. Now what is the drawback of this particular pattern? That it is only picking the one with 3 letters, but there can be more than that. Like you cannot control that there will be, okay, only 3. So what you do in that case, you pass a range. You say that, okay, it will appear at least 2 times or max 4 times. Okay, so here if you just do one thing, you say 3 to 4 times. Okay, so if you just do 3 to 4 times, what is it going to generate? It is going to generate, list out all the possible things. Okay, so USA, CIA and IGCI. So here, like for example, you're checking 2 to 4 in 1 to 3, and if you generate, it will generate to the longest length. So that's how it works. Now another use case, validating or extracting sequences with a specific length range, such as 2 to 4 digit pin code. You have a very big document, it contains zip codes, and zip codes can generally vary from 2 to 4 digits. So what you will do, so for example, let's say these are the pins, and you just passed a pattern. Okay, pins are, you see that pins are only digits, so you will use /t, and after that you will pass 2 to 4. So it will print everything which is of length 2 to 4. So let us look at few more practical use cases. The first is validating the length of pin code, just like we did here, matching years in 21st century from a text. Okay, so let's say you want to check, and there is a document, how many times a year is printed in that document. So you will just say people generally like 21, 20 or 21, or people can also write 221, like 2021. So it depends upon the user, correct? So you can give this pattern to extract it. Now extracting short numerical codes from a product list. Now there is a, if you go to any departmental store, for example, let's say you go to Big Bazaar or somewhere else, you see each of the product has some code. Now the product code can vary from 1 to 3 to 2 digit, 3 digit, 4 digit, 5 digit, right? So what you can do here, you can pass this particular pattern to print it out. Similarly, postal codes and small range numerical identifiers. Okay, so these are the simple things, that 3 things that we have discussed. First was matching exactly if the string before plus is present in the pattern or in the text or not. Second is exact matches, and third is minimum like a range, where you're providing a range to the. Okay, so now let's come down. So we are done with the third use case, and now we will start with the fourth use case. So this use case says that this occurs 3 or more times. Okay, so what do? You say 3 / and you just leave it. So match 3 or more occurrences. For example, you know that, okay, in this particular document, whatever pin codes are present, they will be at least of length 3. Now they can be of 5 length, 4 length, 3 length, anything. So how do you do that? You use W3/. So you are using any characters, suppose, and you're passing this. So what it will result, now point is, it can match 3. For example, it will result any as well. It can result in ANYC as well. So what it does, this particular pattern checks for the longest possible match of W type in this thing, right? So therefore it will result only any characters. It will not result. So let's read about this. There's a concept of look aheads. What if you want to print all the matches starting from length 3 to all the possible length? So there is a concept of look aheads. So what look aheads does is, when you use a question comma equal to in front of this, it will generate all the possible matches starting with length 3. Okay, so see, any characters, like it is generating all the possible matches from length 3 to the maximum length. So this is done through using look aheads, and this is so you will need to remember all these pattern matches, to be honest, because there's no science behind it that why are they using this question mark only. It is just how things are built in Python. Okay, just like, for example, you use SQL, you use where A equal to B. Why you exactly use equal to sign? Because it is how things are built in SQL. Similarly, things are built in Python like this only, that if you have to match, so you have to, whatever pattern you have to give, it has to follow a certain thing. So this thing you will need to remember. I'll be very honest with you, there's no science behind it. Okay, now let's say use case, extracting words with a minimum length, such as keywords or long words in a document. So for example, you have this. Okay, you want to print all the words which are greater than or equal to 3 length. So you will create the pattern this and say 3 or more, and it will generate this is 3 length, this is 5 length, this is 5 length, and so on. So this was the part. Now let's see some of the, I will say, practical use cases of this. The first says that matching usernames in a database that must be at least 3 characters long. For example, user 123, user 465, something like that. And so you can match usernames like this. Extracting valid tags from a text where tags must have at least 3 lengths. Now similarly, validating password that require a minimum of 3 characters. Okay, so you can pass this to it. Or matching directory names in a file system where you can read all these examples while, so whenever you watch this video and you're revising things, try to visualize these explanation in your mind using these patterns. Okay, it will help you a lot in understanding. And again, I'm saying this is very important part. So now we will move to the next part. So welcome to the this part where we have very interesting case. We have a star pattern, right? So it means a lot actually. So what does it say? Star say that, for example, let's say you're using star and you're using A, B, C. Okay, so it says that, let's read the definition of star. It says that it matches 0 or more occurrences of the preceding element. So it means that C, this particular C that we are talking about, it can be present, yes, or it cannot be present. So what all will this particular pattern, if you pass, what all will this match to? It will match first of all with ABC for sure. Okay, and it will match with A, B as well. Okay, so it is saying that C is optional. It can match it with, it cannot match with it as well. Okay, so that is the point. Now let us see this particular question what we are having. Let's say we have this ABC star, which is the pattern, and this is where we are targeting it. So what will happen? First of all, it will try to match A. Now A, it will match with the first A here, okay, because there is only one A. Now after A, B is following, right? Now there is no B in this particular text. So what will happen? This particular part will return, it will come in an error. So there is no match like this. Okay, so this is what you need to remember. Now let us say try some other pattern as well. For example, let's say try A star and I try B star. So B is not present, so let's try A star and match, let's say find all. It is find all. So what all did it match with? So let us see. It is saying that A can be present 0 or more times. So if you see that, what does A0 mean? 0 means here before the start of character, it is matching it with a blank space. Okay, and after A is finished, here also it is matching with a blank space, and it is also matching at end of the string. But technically, what is it matching with? Triple A. So what it is saying that A, the maximum length of string that it can match where there is A present, it will match with that particular part. Now, for example, will it match with this? Let's see. Yes, so it has resulted. Why? Because A can be present, here A is not present. So what does this mean? That match anything where A is not there, and so it will so here we are not searching for the pattern of A. So here either we are looking for something that contains A or something that is blank. Okay, so therefore it is resulting in blanks. Now let us say I do A star C. Okay, and let's say AA triple A CC. So what does this particular part means? That C has to be one time. Okay, C has to be one time. So when I do, for example, let's say I do A star C. Okay, when I try, so what all elements will this particular thing match with? Okay, so we have A C C, right? Let me confirm if I'm using the right one, AAACC. Okay, so what does this thing means? That first of all, C should appear only one time, okay, and A can appear 0 to any number of time. Okay, so what all it will match? First of all, it will match where A is not there, so it will match only with one C, and here is one C, so it will match with C. First match it can happen with C. What can be the second match? Now C can only be one time. Now A, where for example let's say there is one A, so there can be a AC, there can be AAC, and there can be AAAC. Okay, so but what, how does it work? This works that it picks up the longest length. Okay, so it will not show you these things. It will only show you C, AAC. So that's how this particular pattern will work. So that's why it is matching with C and this. So now let us say I do C star as well. So now what all will it match through? So it is matching with, so let's say we have A star and C star. Okay, so what does it mean? C can appear 0 to any number of time, and A can also appear 0 to any number of time. So one for sure it will match with a blank. Okay, second it could be, so first it has to be a blank. Second match it could be is where A, for example, A is present multiple times and C is not present. So is there anything? So let's see. So triple A, it will match. So it will generate like so corresponding to this, for example, A star where C is not present, where C is 0. So it could be A, it could be AA, it could be triple A. And what it will pick? It will pick the longest one, that is triple A. It will not pick this one. Now let us say where A is not present, only C is there. So what is that? It is C. Okay, where A is not present and C is present. Yes. Okay, so it will take this length. Okay, now let's say fourth, where both are present, A and C both are present. So what can be the maximum length of that particular part? It can be all this triple A double C. So it can be triple A double C. Now comes the interesting part, that this function, because all these are continuous, right? So it will finally show you the value which is of the maximum length, and that's why it will result in this one and this one only. Okay, now let me explain you once again, because I'm very sure you might be confused right now. So let us say we have A, C, C. Okay, and we have A star and C star. So there are three cases. Okay, let's create those cases. The first case is when C is 0, there is only A. So when there is only A, it will match with A, it will match with AA, it will match with AAA. Correct? Now when another case, when A is not there, there is only C. So there can be C, okay, and there can be CC. And there will be a third case when both are there, AC. Okay, so where it can find both AC together. So what could be that? It could be AC, it could be AC, and it could be AAAC. Am I right? Yes. And there could be a fourth one where both of these are not present, and it could be a blank match. So these are the possible matches. Now what does Python say? That whenever there are matches which are like back to back, where you have there is no gap, for example they're back to back or they are continuous, it will return you this it will return you something with the maximum length. Okay, so this is triple AC, it is not double AC, right? Okay, and the third part and sorry, another match that I missed is because C can come any number of time, right? So it could be AAA and CC. Okay, another match was there possible there. So out of all these, which one is of the maximum length? Because all these are continuous only. So this length is 1, this length is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is again 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is of the biggest length, so it will pick this one, okay, and this will pick a blank. So when you try to match this thing, you see it is displaying, even after doing find all, it is just generating these two characters. Okay, so this is very important for you guys to learn that how does it work. Now let's see the possible cases. Now let's say this is an example. Find all sequences that end with B and are optionally preceded by any number of A's. So let's say what all cases can be there. So it is A star B, right? So A star B, if they're asking, so what all things can be there? So B has to be there, for example, right? So it could be that there is only B. First match could be this. Second could be AB. Third could be AAB. And it could go on. It could go on till it matches something, right? So triple AB, like 4 times AB, and it will go on. Now let's try to match with this one. So will it match AB? Yes. Will it match triple AB? Yes, it will match. Will it match AAB? Yes. And will it match B? Yes, it will match. Okay. So that is the thing. Now, if I do CB, will it match CB? No, it will not match CB, but what it will do, it will just print the B. Okay. So this is what you need to understand. So let's say wherever we use, these are the like some use cases, parsing sequences in a text where the presence of character ABC can vary in the number or be absent, right? So like something like this, where A and B and C can be present, not be present, something like this. So all these are all those examples. So please watch this explanation again, which I just did, and try to understand this particular explanation. Yeah. So now we'll move to the next pattern. So now let us discuss the last pattern where we have a question mark. So what does it mean once or more? Once or none, right? So it says that the quantifier in regular expression matches 0 or 1 occurrence of the preceding element. So in the previous question, we saw that star is used to match if it is present, not present, or more times. This is a little bit different, that it says matches 0 or 1 occurrence. So it goes only up to 1 occurrence. So for example, if you are using plurals, okay, so let's say you are using plurals. Let's say this is your pattern, plurals, and you use a question mark. So what this pattern will match with? It will first of all match with plurals, okay, because all others are for sure, all others have to be there, and this question mark says that S can be optional, and it will match with plural. So in a text, if you pass this pattern, it will return you all those characters, all of these two types. Okay, so let us read about this a little bit more. So for example, let's say if you have this plurals, you have created a pattern and you are passing a text plural. So now when you return, it will return you this. Now if you return, for example, S, so it will return you S. Okay, so it matches with 0 or 1 occurrence of the previous whatever thing is present before that. So this is a fairly simple one. Okay, so these are the basic, you can read about what all like use cases you have. So please thoroughly read all this assignment that I have prepared for you, then only you will understand. I have just given explanation, so watch the explanation, try things on yourself, try to change the pattern couple of times and then evaluate, right? Then you will understand it in more detail. This is something that can only be 30% driven by me, rest all you will learn yourself only. Okay, so this is a summary. Plus means occurs 1 or more time. Okay, if anything and in plus what happens, the whole part, not only just the previous element, it matches, it just checks the whole part. This means exact. 2 to 4 gives a range. This gives like 3 or more times, okay, this means 0 or more times, and question mark means once or more. So try all these questions, and after that read about these practical cases, solve the assignment that I give, and visualize things in your mind. But you have to remember all these formats. It is very important. You cannot miss them. So you need to remember this particular these 6 flags you need to remember. Now we will move to couple of practical questions, like maybe I'll say practice questions for this to understand what are the wider application of these particular matches. So let's start with, we have 5 practice problems. We will solve them. So I have provided solution to them. I will explain you how these patterns are formed, right? I mean, the question is simple. Every question is of this format only, that you have given a text and you have to create a pattern to match that, to basically answer that question. So question format of all these 5 questions remain same, but we will see how these patterns are constructed. There are, right, how these patterns, you whatever we learned so far, how do we construct? There are few more addition concept to this, right, which I will explain in these 5 questions. So try to understand them a little bit more. Okay, so we will start with question number 1. Question number 1 says, write a regex to validate an email address. Okay, so these type of application you would have seen when you go to any website. It says this email ID is not acceptable. Okay, and it says that your email ID should contain like they provide all these condition in your like any website. So how those what is the coding behind all that? That is it is just this particular coding. Okay, so I mean, once you learn this, you can build backend of such a website where you can build an application where you take users email ID and tell whether it is acceptable or not. Okay, so how it works is that question says that an email address should have the following criteria. So let's just read about the criteria. It should start with alphanumeric characters. Okay, so let me refresh this. So it says that it should start with alphanumeric. So it should start with W, correct? Now it can have dots or underscores. Okay, so it can have dots or underscores. So anywhere it has to start with this, but it can have dots or underscore anywhere. So this is also an important thing. The third part is it contains the @ symbol. It has to start with an alphanumeric, but it has to contain this and even @ as well. Okay, now any email address is of this format only, correct? So next, after the @ it should contain the alphanumeric character or dots. So after email address, there should be W or there should be dots. And at 5th, it says that it should end with a domain name .com, .org or something. Okay, so let's say there can be domain name .com, there can be .org, or it can be .in, and so on. There are like multiple domain names. So we have to we have to create a pattern which can follow this particular task. Okay, so I already have the pattern for you. I'll explain you how this pattern is built here. Okay, so let me just copy this particular pattern and paste here, and I'll explain you that how this pattern is built. So just a second. Okay, so let's see. This is the pattern that we are having here. Now, if you see in any pattern, so far I told you that your pattern should start with R and there should be something like this. It will mean that a pattern is starting. Now, there is another important thing that you need to know whenever you are validating a text. For example, you are given a text and you have to scan that whole text from starting to end. Okay, you need to add this symbol at the start and this symbol at the end. Okay, this means that what does this mean? This particular means that we will start the scanning from this part Okay, we will start the scanning from here, and we will, this dollar means till here. Okay, till here, it means stop the scanning now. Okay, you also need to include this when you want to match only on a particular string. Okay, that is the thing. So if you see, we in this code, we are having this at the start and we are having a dollar at the end. So it means that you need to include this means the start of where you need to this particular pattern you need to start matching in the string from the first point. Okay, so it means this. So it will basically technically start with this particular string here and start matching from here. So this with this, that's how it is important. Now comes the first, the question said that the first, so now let's build, they said that there should be something here, correct? There should be something here at the start, at the somewhere here there will be an at the rate, then there can be something, and then there will be .com, correct? This is what the question was given. And also it was given that it should start with an alphanumeric. So alphanumeric means W. Okay, alphanumeric means W. So this is what information is present to us. Now we will try to build on this. What does this W? You can also write this as A to Z, means characters in small letters, and also A to Z. Okay, you can write, and numbers will vary from 0 to 9. Okay, this you can write it down first of all. So it needs to contain this thing. So this whole part means at least one should be present from this. Okay, at least one should be present from this. So how the pattern will look like, you will start with R, this will be first, and this is how you will start. Okay, so this is your first part where you'll create a match, you'll create a pattern before at the rate, then we will add at the rate. Okay, because at the rate is a static text, so we will just write it down like this. Okay, now so what we are doing A to Z, and then we are writing A to Z, and then we are varying from 0 to 9. You can also use this as well, but I'm just using this to show another way of writing this. Now the question also said that you can have this and this. Okay, it is you can include this, right? So let's read the question. It can have dots or underscore, right? So it is not mandatory, but you can put it. So what you will do, you will say dot and underscore. Okay, so this is how it will work. So it has to start from this, it can have this, and now it will start to match. After this, at the rate again. Now let's read the second thing. What it says, it should contain this, and after that it should contain alphanumeric character and the dot. So after also it needs to contain /W. So what we will do, A to Z 09, and it can have dot only, right? So it can have dot only, right? So after the at, it should contain the alphanumeric or something. So okay, dot we will include later, and we have taken care of this part. Now after this we need to have a dot, so we'll say plus slash, and this dot is mandatory, that's why we are putting this. Now the end needs to be with what? It can be COM, right? So like it has to be, so this is what, this is character, right? It is like A, B, C, D, E, F. So what is technically, it can be A to Z or it can be A to Z. Okay, and after this, how many times can this repeat? So what is the frequency of this? We don't know actually, right? So we can say now any domain at least contains 2 words, right? At least it contains dot in. So what it will do, will use a curly brace where we say 2 and comma. So what will happen, it will take any, like let's say .org, .organization, anything that it will take care of that. Okay, so what you can do, this part will be there, and you can, before this dot you can also enter a star, because this is optional. Before this you can also have a star. So this is how your whole pattern will be built. It might sound very confusing to you initially, but this comes with practice, right? But you need to remember all, like you need to break your whole pattern into multiple parts, and then you need to create this. Okay, so now when you pass it to this email id, it will tell whether this email id is acceptable or not. For example, I start with 1. Okay, so the first has to be alphanumeric. Okay, so let's change this to dot. Okay, so we have mentioned that this can be anywhere. Okay, so let's use this exclamation. Okay, so it will result in false. So I can remove this particular dot. For like, if it is confusing you, you can remove this. Let's forget this, it can have dots or underscore, it will confuse you. So now let us say I run this particular thing and I am passing a dot in the star. Okay, so it will result in a false, because it has to start with alphanumeric, and it can, before dot it can only be alphanumeric, right? So example dot email or dot email, so this type of error it will throw. So now you can only accept these type of emails, you cannot have a dot as well. So you can play around with this one. So for the timing, you can keep it or remove it, it's up to you. I just wanted to explain. So if you want to keep it, you need to pass a star. So this is how this pattern is built. So I hope you understand this explanation. Try to break them into parts and see. Now we'll move to the next question. The next question says that we have a phone number validation. Okay, so create a regex pattern. So now let me restart this screen. It says that create a regex pattern to validate a phone number. The phone number should match the following. What is the pattern? It should start with a country code, okay, optional, which is optional, preceded by a plus sign. So phone number can be, so there should be a plus sign. Okay, after that there will be a country code. Okay, and after that it should followed by 10 digits. So after this there can be 10 digits. So let's say you write down 10 digits. Okay, 10 digits. This is must, this is must, this is must, and this is optional. That's what it said. Okay, so can you tell me what pattern can I build? I will do R. So remember what I need to do, I need to start with this and I need to end with a dollar. Okay, now my first part has to be plus, right? So what I will do, I'll start with the slash plus. Okay, so it means that I'm using slash plus. After that, what can be there? After that, this is the optional part where this number. So let's say this country code, it can have, generally the codes are like +91, +1, +234, like maximum it goes up to 3 length, right? What I've seen so far. So you can just assume that this is variable length of 0 to 3 and this is a fixed length of 10. So what is the total digit length? It can vary from 10 to 13. So what you will do, plus D and it a length of 10 to 13, something like this pattern you can use. So that is what we have used in this example, that you have used, see, we have used a question mark. So what does this question mark say? Now let's go, let's read about the question mark. It says that it should be present, wait a second, so more practical, yeah, it should be present once or none. Okay, the element that is preceding it should be present once or none. Now let's come to the question. So it says that whatever part is present before, so this plus part, it can be present, it cannot be present. Now let's try this out. Okay, so if you want to keep it optional, you can use a question mark. If you want to keep it, you have to make it like this, right? That no, I want a plus sign. Okay, So depending upon your use case, if you want to keep it optional, you use question mark and it will return you true. But if you want to make it working always, you should use without question mark. Okay, so plus, and after that there is a digit, and digit can vary from 10 to 12 or 13, like whatever your length you are assuming that my phone number can country code generally goes up to 3, so you can make it 10 to 12 or 13 depending upon your use case. So that's how it is. This is very interesting question. Try to do this, and because these type of pattern you will be very extensively using when you do Python, that you will be given a text, you will be asked to fetch out all the email address, especially in web scraping. In web scraping you have to run a code to fetch out all the email address or the phone number which a user has submitted. Okay, so that there you need to use this particular pattern. Now we come to the problem number 3. So let us discuss the question number 3. Again, we have a text and we have a we are given some question that we have to match some pattern. Okay, so the question says you have to write a regex to validate the strength of a password. So a strong password should, so either you have to create a flag whether the password is strong or not, right? You would have seen this everywhere wherever you use, I mean, for example, in your any website where you create your username and password, it tells that okay, this username is not strong enough or something like that. So how those things are done is, let's see this. So the condition is that the password should be at least 8 characters long. Okay, it should contain at least one uppercase letter, it should contain at least one lowercase letter, contains at least one digit, contains at least one special character, right? So this is the criteria of your strong password. So let's write down that particular thing here. So your first criteria is that, okay, your first criteria for the strong password, it should be at least 8, right? So 8 greater than equal to 8, the length should be. Second criteria, it says at least one uppercase. Okay, so at least 1 greater than equal to 1 uppercase and greater than equal to 1 lowercase, and fourth says greater than equal to 1, I think it's integer or something, 1 digit. Okay, it says digit. And what does fifth says? Fifth example says that at least one special character from these. Okay, so we have some special characters. So your password should be something like this, like special characters. So it should have at least 8, length of 8. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, it is the minimum, and it can go up to like 8. It can be of 2000 length as well, 20 length as well, any length. Okay, so we have to ensure that our string contains everything from this particular part. So let us see how this particular thing is built. Now if we see, these are the must conditions. Okay, that this should be there, this should be there, this should be there. So what we do that, this is a new concept I didn't cover till yet. It is called lookup. So what you do that in lookup, you create brackets wherever you have a must condition, that this condition should satisfy, you create a bracket for those conditions. Okay, and you put those condition here. And how those look conditions are created, you use a question mark equal to, use a question mark equal to for those conditions, question mark equal to, question mark equal to for all those conditions. These are must to have. So there are total 4 must to have conditions. So we will have 4 brackets in our pattern. Okay, if you see here, I have created 4 patterns, 4 bracket, 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, and after this, okay, we have now it says at least one uppercase letter. Okay, it says it should have at least one uppercase letter, and it should have at least one lowercase letter, at least one digit or something. Okay, so how is it done is that, for example, it can have A, it can have AB, it can have CD or something like that. Okay, and before that there could be a number or could not be a number, correct? So there could be something, there could not be something. So remember, this is very important. So let's say CD is there, ABCD is there, whatever is there. Before that, there could be something or there could not be something. Okay, so how we build this particular logic is using a dot thing. So what do we do that? For example, we use dot star. So what does dot star do is dot star. So remember what star does. It says that it can be there, it cannot be there. And after that we use A to Z. What does this mean? Small. So let's keep it A to Z, capital. It means that there should be a capital letter, and before that capital letter there can be anything. It means there can be anything. Okay. So this is very important. I mean, if you skip this, it will throw an error or it will not generate the right result. So apart from new line, there should be at least something present before star, and this dot means that only. Okay. Similarly, here what you do, dot star, and it should be A to Z. Okay. Similarly, dot star, there should be at least a D. For example, you can say 0 to 9. Okay. And similarly, dot star, and there should be those special characters that have been provided. So if you see dot star and dot star, and after this, after everything is over, after dot, there could be anything after that as well. So technically what this means is that we are ensuring 4 conditions. So for example, let's say there is A and A present. This is my password. So will it accept? And let's say there is C. So what are we saying through that code? For example, the code that I just wrote, that this equal to dot star. Okay. So what it is saying, that before the start of anything, like let's say before the start of A to Z, anything, there can be anything. It could be A, it could be 1, 2, 3, it could be anything. This dot here does not mean that it's a dot technically. It means it could be anything. It can take anything. Okay. So this is the part we are ensuring here. And after everything finishes, we are using a dot in the end as well. It means that after everything is finished, there is something in the end as well. And after that, we are passing the length, that is 8 to like whatever length it is. So this is the explanation for how this password is built. You can try exploring, removing star, removing without removing. You will understand these particular things. So this is just a password strength validation concept. Now let's move to question number 4, that is extracting dates. Write a regex to extract dates from a given text. The date should be of the, so we want to extract dates which are of the DD MMYY format. Okay, it is pretty simple, right? So DD means 2 digits slash, see, DD means 2 digits, DD means 2 digit, and means 4 digit, and there is, right? One additional thing you see here is this B. What does B mean? B means break. Break means that this date should not be a part of any other string like this. So if this date is part of this string, it will not be captured. Okay. So for example, if this date is part of that string, it will not be captured. So remember this, because date should be present independently. That's what this question says. But I mean, if you try to remove this, for example, break. Now let's say I get this. Okay, so I'm getting this as well. Even now I'm getting date. So you can use this as well if you want, but if you want to remove breaks, you can simply say B. No, I don't. I want only those values which are independent. Okay, that depends upon the type of data that you are having, because here this date could mean something else as well. So that's why we have done this, but it's totally up to up to you how you want to generate it. Now comes the very interesting and the last part. although it is very simple, but if you see this pattern, I mean, it will boggle your mind that how is this working? I mean, how do I create this pattern? But I'll break it down for you. It's a very, very simple thing. Okay. This is the last question of this video. So let's see. Question says that write a regex to validate an IP address. Okay, an IP address consists of 4 octets. So basically, it may separated by dots where each octet is between 0 to 255. So how does an IPv4 address look like? A lot of you guys might not know is that there is a text, a number, then there's a dot, then there is a number, then there's a dot, then there is a number, then there's a dot, and then there is a number. Okay, and each number varies from 0 to 255. Okay, so let's see what all IPs can you generate. You can generate 0 point, let's say 1.191.200. This is an valid IP. Okay, and you can say 100 dot 150 dot 170 dot 230. This is also valid IP address, and so on. These all are the IP addresses which are present. So if you see now, so for example, let's say this is a IP address, right? So is it a valid IP address or not? And let's say I create any number, I create 300. Will it be called an IP address? It will not be called, because 300 is not possible. It has to be less than 255. So how do we write this code? It is a very like smart concept, I will say. So how we have written it. So now let's come here. So remember, this thing will not change. It will still remain same, that you are matching with start point to end point. This will not change. Now let us figure out how do we generate these numbers dynamically. If you see this 25, 0 to 5, 2, 0 to 4, something, you might be confused what it is exactly, right? So you don't need to remember how to, I mean, you should know the logic how this is written. Okay, eventually while working you can simply copy paste from ChatGPT as well. It's not like no one is going to kill you for this, because no one is going to ask you, okay, write something like this for me. You can simply use Google or simply anywhere, but we need to understand what this code works, right? Let's say in future you have to change you're getting some error in your code, that some IT, for example, you need to block certain IT. Your manager comes up and says that hey, please start, we have to block the IPs with value 170 to 190. Okay, so if you don't know the logic of this code, how will you change it, right? So that is why you will not require to write these big yourself. You can copy from ChatGPT or anywhere else, but you should know how to debug problems. Okay, so now there are multiple methods to write this. That this technically this means that this number can vary from 0 to 255. That's all this particular thing means. Okay, so let us discuss this this case. So this is 25, 0 to 5. Okay, so when you write 25, 0 to 5, for example, 25, 0 to 5. So what does it mean? It means that it will vary from 0 to 5. So it contains all the value from 250 to 251, 252, 253, 254, and 255. Correct? It contains all the values. These that if IP should contain this. Okay, it contains all the values here. That wherever it finds any pattern like this, it will write. So one method you can do simply without all this. You can simply write down all the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 255 here, and 0, 1, 255 here, and like that. One method is that only. Okay, that then it will just match. If it sees any match with that, it will pick that number. I am writing down to just little bit if you just want to compress your text. That is what this is about. Now let's see. After this, you write 204 to 09. So what does it mean? 2 0 to 4 and 0 to 9, correct? So what does it mean? This varies from 0, 0. So this particular number will vary from 200 to, what is the maximum? 249, correct? It will vary from 200 to 249. So remember, this is taking care of 250 to 255. This is taking care, so 250 to 255. Okay, this is taking care of 200 to 249. Now what we need to take care? All the numbers below 200. How are we taking care of them? Is that we have created something like this. So 0, 1, it is, if you see 0, 1, then question mark, then 0 to 9, then question mark, then 0, 9, okay, and 0 to 9 and 0 to 9 and then question mark, then 0 to 9 and then 0 to 9 question mark. So what does, so let me do one thing, let me create everything in a new page. Okay, so the one method to write down this IP was what we discussed, that so we have this 1.2.3.4. One method is to you write down all the numbers. For example, how you write down all the pattern, you simply come here and you write down that for example, let's say I just copy this here. Okay, so pattern is this, and you technically just input everything 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and so on up to you write down 255. One method is this, right? And it will try to match if then this, then dot, then again you repeat this, okay, and then repeat, and that's how you can write it down. So one is that method. Now I'm just trying to reduce this particular number to a simple, to easier format. So what we have done, we have broken it into multiple levels. So first is to print 250 to 255. What we have done, we simply write 25 and we give a bracket. It varies from 0 to 5, right? So this covers the numbers 250 to 255. 250 to 255. Okay, and my second digit, this one, 204 to 09. So 0 to 4, 0 to 9. It covers from where? Minimum number is 0, 0, 200. And what is the maximum number? 249, 249. So these numbers have been covered. Now comes interesting part. So it is 0, 1, okay, and then 0 to 9, and then 0 to 9 question mark. Okay, this is also question mark. So this is very interesting. Now what does question mark means? Let's go back to the discussion. Question mark means that it could present 0 times or 1 times, right? That's what we discussed. Let's read about the question mark once again if you have forgotten. So this is once or more. Okay, so this particular thing can be present once or more. So let us say this is present only once. So what will happen if it is present only once? So it will be 1, correct? So 1, and then it will be 0 to 9. So it will vary from, what is the minimum value? 100. Okay, and this is again once, or it can be just a second, it is I think I have written the incorrect. Just let me cross check the question mark. Once or none, sorry, yeah, that's what I was confused. It should be once or none. Yeah, so once or none. So for example, let's say when this is not present, this question mark means not present. So it is between 0 to 9 only. So it is covering from all the numbers from 0 to 9 only. Now when this is present and this is not, so let's say this is present and this is not present. So what it will become? 0, 1, 2, 0, 9. So where will this number vary from? 1 0 to 1 0 1 1, so to 19. Okay, so we covered these things. We covered 0 to 9, we covered 10 to 19. Then we have this part, fourth part as well. Let's say this is absent, this is present. Okay, so what will happen? It will be 0 to 9 to 0 to 9. Okay, okay, so it will be 0 and it will be to 99, right? So it will be 99. Technically it covers everything. Okay, and now when all is present, so 1 0 to 9 and 0 to 9. Okay, when everything is present, so what all it will take, so this covers everything from 0 to 99. Now this will cover from 1 0 0 to 199. Okay, so you saw that we are covering 100 to 99 from here, and we are covering 0 to 99 here, and we are covering 200 to 249 here, and 250 to 255 here. So all the four numbers have been covered, or I mean all the four ranges. So technically everything from 0 to 255 has been covered, and you create this pattern and repeat 4 times because you want to check, you have 3 dots and you have to match it with 4 values. So that's how it works. Now let me come to the question. I know this might be sounding very tricky to you, but it's not. Just try to revisit the video and do things yourself. You will understand, or you can simply, I mean, Google this explanation or use ChatGPT or anything, right? So this was my objective, to explain you that how to understand these codes, because you will be watching them a lot. Like people can write codes like this only when they have to simplify things. So these were the 5 questions. These were the how quantifiers work. I know again I'm saying this would have been a little tricky for you, but don't worry. Just revise it a little bit. You don't, all these codes, all these patterns you might not need to write every time. Like basic patterns you might need to write. For example, a password thing, or you have a username. Those things you might have to write. Right? Even if you're copying from ChatGPT, you should understand what this main objective is. First to understand this. Right? If you can understand this code, it's fine. Right? With time you will build confidence to write these as well. So that was my objective. Try to visualize these questions, practice them yourself. This was the part 2 of Regex. We have the part 3 also coming tomorrow. So that was it from my side. Let me know how the explanation was. If you have any question, please reach out to me. And thanks again for watching this video. You guys have been patient enough, and we are progressing towards like advanced concepts of Python as well. As I mentioned, this was one of the advanced concepts. So thanks again. Please subscribe to our channel if you have not, and have a good day.